How's it going, everybody? This is Beat the Bush. Today, I'm going to talk about Apple's new credit card that they're going to introduce later this year. Now, I saw on Wall Street Journal that Apple is working with Goldman Sachs in order to introduce a new credit card that will likely have something like a 2% cash back and something a little bit more if you buy Apple products. I assume they probably will introduce something like a 3 or 4% cash back, or maybe cash only that you can spend in the Apple store. There'll probably be other typical finance tricks along with credit cards, like no interest for the first 12 months or something whenever you buy Apple products. I need some paper. Hold on. Here it is. I could care less what kind of benefits it has. Most people, and by this I mean the majority of people, if they happen to get this credit card, they're gonna lose money over it. What I mean by most people is that the majority of people that gets credit cards are eventually going to get in trouble. Now, I don't want to be picking on Apple or Goldman Sachs or anything. I'm just talking about this in general. For any credit card that's being introduced, it's really just a moneymaker. We already know for the past 3 or 4 years already that Apple has not really been introducing anything very revolutionary, I would say. I mean, there are products that comes out, but it's not in the same league as, introducing a brand new category, such as the iPhone, such as the iPad. So in order to make up for this decline in iPhone sales, they've been slowly increasing the prices of the phone without really increasing all that many more features. People are starting to notice this already, but Apple is trying to make as much money as possible. In fact, they're trying to grow their profits. But this is all trying to be done without introducing a brand new revolutionary product. What I and probably a lot of people already see is that they're trying to make money in any means necessary. So they go into the service industry. Yes, they are probably going to increase their profits, but they're sort of still riding on the coattails of the previous products. You can only wring it out so much before it's completely dried out. Now, going into the credit card business, now they're not making their own credit card. They just, go to some bank, Goldman Sachs, and go, hey, we want a credit card. And through this process, they're probably going to take a huge cut. They're going to negotiate and they can go, okay, however much money gets funneled through this credit card, they're going to be able to take a certain amount of it. And because Apple is such a big player, just like their negotiation long time ago with any sort of vendor, and initially with the cellular services, they probably going to get a very favorable term so that they're going to get bunch of money basically just for saying, okay, this is the Apple credit card. So what's the result of this? If they introduce it, let's say in Q2 of this year, I feel like they're likely going to make, I don't know, $500 million, $1 billion. That's going to be added right down to their bottom line. So they are going to make a lot of money. But let's think about this. Where's this money coming from? You. It's coming from you, because you're the one that going to be signing up for this Apple credit card. You are going to be the one that goes, hey, it says 12 months free financing for this Apple computer because you have that Apple credit card. And on top of that, if you use that credit card, you get 3 or 4% off of that. So wow, what a great deal. You can buy this laptop for school or whatever, and you don't even have to pay until a year later. And then you only have to pay the minimum for a year, $20, $30. And then by the time it hits, okay? By the time suddenly 12 months is up, you are suddenly hit with a 20% APR, and then you still have to make these monthly payments. By the time that you're finished paying off this MacBook or whatever, you're going to end up paying twice the amount of the original. Maybe it's like $1,000, okay? By the time you finish paying it off 4 or 5 years down the line, maybe you paid $2,000 instead. This is typical. This is not special to buying a Mac product. Having a credit card does the same thing. You can buy anything you want. You can go buy a big screen TV. You can buy anything expensive. And the same thing happens. Whatever you need, it's just, it gets funneled through that credit card instead. So instead of, some consumer, they use some random credit card, okay? Whatever brand, it's not Apple branded credit card. They use, their own credit card. Instead of that money going to, a different bank, now Apple is likely going to have their own credit card. So in a way, they're taking that slice of profit that would have went to a bunch of other banks distributed whatever way. And instead, Apple's going to pocket that instead and sort of, split it between that company and Goldman Sachs. Make no mistake, I believe this credit card and a lot of other credit cards, okay, it's not particular. I'm trying to not pick on this particular credit card, but it is a total transfer of wealth from the middle class to the top 1%. Who buys a bunch of these Apple products is really the middle class or so, the upper middle class that can actually afford these Apple products, and probably people not so middle class as well, because they want to have this appearance of being affluent. So then they buy these products and they dig themselves deeper into debt and they transfer this wealth from their pockets into the company and also the bank. Now let's follow where the money goes here. If you get this credit card and you go and buy a bunch of Apple products, the money that Apple earns is going to go into their banks or whatnot. Once the profit goes into the company, these days Apple isn't really using it all that much, so it just sort of sits idle, but it does help their share price go up. And who owns the majority of the share prices, which is, the top 1%? Both companies will take this profit to run the company. They're going to have money to do acquisitions. They're going to do share buybacks. And through these activities, acquisition, share buybacks, and all that, who do you think benefits? It goes to increase the stock price. And the beneficiary of this rising stock price, you have to look at who owns the majority of that, which is the 1%. If you want to be careful of sort of slowing down this transfer of wealth, you really have to look at who the beneficiaries are of the products that you buy. Not all companies are publicly traded, and maybe even the smaller companies, maybe the local ones that you participate in, the profits does not actually flow out into, oblivion into the top 1%. Maybe you find local stores to support, so then you buy whatever products they have. Generally, they're a little bit more expensive, but by the time they make the profits, they're eventually going to buy some very commercial products themselves. So this will be a second order effect. Eventually, some transfer of wealth is going to happen. It's going to leak eventually, because it's very, very difficult to not buy these hugely commercial products. Most consumers that signs up for credit cards, overall, if you look at how much money is being spent, how much money is being wasted on interest payments, on late fees and stuff, overall, it's actually bad for the consumer. Now, this is not to say that it's bad for everyone. There are, I assume, 5 to 10% of the population that if you get this credit card, you're actually going to benefit from it, because, hey, if I get it, I tend to be very responsible with credit cards myself, but I might be an outlier. Maybe if I decide to buy a laptop or something, I might be able to take advantage of this by getting, 2 to 5% cash back. And this would actually benefit me. Maybe if I sign up for the credit card, I'll get, $100 cash back or something. The fact that I know I probably will benefit from this is very different than the general population, because if you look at, on average, everyone signing up for this credit card, a lot of people are going to use this credit card in the wrong way, pay a lot of interest payments. Maybe if there's some advantageous financing deal, they're going to miss it at the very end, and maybe it's like this same story with any credit card. A lot of the consumers don't know how to use a credit card properly, and therefore it's actually better if you don't get it at all. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this discussion. Don't forget to give me a like on this video. Let me know what you think the Apple credit card will look like. Will it look like something I mocked up for this thumbnail? If you're interested in supporting the channel, check out my Audible link down in the video description below, where you can get a free audiobook. If you don't like this audiobook or this subscription, you can cancel it before the subscription expires, and you can still keep this audiobook for free and help benefit this channel. And as always, don't forget to push that subscribe button and ring that bell icon. Thanks for watching.